I mean, most of us didn't think that the Clippers were going to lose to the Nuggets, especially not when they had a 3-1 lead, but they did. And this is sort of a microcosm of what happened. Paul George off the backboard and Damian Lillard being super petty. Ramona Shelburne has more.
It was supposed to be different this year.
This is a truly complete team.
The Clippers are the best team in basketball.
The Clippers were championship favorites.
This Clippers team, I'm telling you right now, will win a championship.
They signed Kawhi Leonard. They traded for Paul George. And they outmaneuvered everyone to do so, especially their city rival, the Los Angeles Lakers.
They've been built to beat the Lakers.
Then they did it again at the trade deadline with Marcus Morris.
One of the reasons why the Clippers want to get Marcus Morris is so the Lakers cannot have them.
And on the buyout market with Reggie Jackson. At every turn this year, the Clippers were one step ahead. Until the end, when it mattered most.
What a devastating loss for a team that's one goal was to win the title. This is a collapse they'll think about all summer.
The years of planning, of acquiring assets, of rebuilding their brand so a superstar like Leonard would choose them, all of it was so the Clippers could finally contend for a title. But after this loss, all of it was for naught.
Every team's going through something, and some teams deal with it better than others. And in my opinion, we haven't done a great job of it.
But in the end, this Clippers team will go down like so many others. So much potential, never realized. The Clippers' streak of never making it to the conference finals continues. Now, all the pressure's on next season, which could be Paul George and Kawhi's last season with the Clippers.
We now welcome in our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski from the bubble. Was more on this. Clippers blow that 3-1 series lead to the Nuggets. Their head coach, Doc Rivers, saying afterwards he'll take any blame for the Clippers not living up to expectations. Woj, what's the latest about Doc's future?
I'm told that there's not been any discussion in that Clippers organization about a coaching change, but there are going to be some really difficult conversations that are going to be had, once they get back to Los Angeles with Steve Ballmer, their front office, Lawrence Frank, Michael Winger, and obviously Doc Rivers about why this team underachieved, why they didn't reach the conference final, and why they did not handle adversity at all in this series with Denver. And remember, they have two superstar players, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, who potentially could be free agents again after next season, and their voices are going to be important in this conversation, what they saw as the issues and what they see as the pathway moving forward. There's a lot to work through for the Clippers after the debacle of blowing that 3-1 lead to Denver.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Doc Rivers is the only coach to have had 3-1 leads blown, once with the Magic and twice now with the Clippers. Lou Williams sort of referenced that the team's chemistry failed them in this series. What are you hearing about potentially some changes with their roster going forward?
Al, this organization is limited in the kinds of certainly wholesale moves they can make in trades or on the free agent market. They gave up multiple first-round picks in the trade for Paul George, in the deadline deal for Marcus Morris with New York next year. The Knicks get their first this year. And they have three free agents, Montrezl Harrell, JaMychal Green, and Marcus Morris, who they potentially would, like to keep. They're all available to go out into the marketplace. I think the change is going to have to come from inside. This is a group that is going to have to really, take a look in the mirror, and it's going to be with the coaching staff. It's going to be with star players, role players. But they made their big, significant moves these last couple of years. They thought to put them in position to potentially win a title, maybe win multiple titles. And now they're going to very likely have to work through the issues with this team because they don't have the capital to go out and make significant deals in the trade market.
Yeah, they assumed, I think, what we all did. It was a Clippers team that made the playoffs without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Certainly, they'll be able to do better than last season. Adrian Wojnarowski joining us with the latest from the fallout of the Clippers losing to the Nuggets.
Richard Jefferson was with the Cavaliers when LeBron James delivered that block in the finals. So, Richard, when you saw Bam Adebayo get his Tuesday night, tell us, what does it take to make a block like that as a defender?
Well, first of all, it starts with the on-ball defender. That's the key thing. You got to make sure that you're not fouling, the guy's not swiping, not making a silly play, similar to what J.R. Smith didn't do. But in this play right here, the trust, knowing that you have that defensive presence, but him is one of the most athletic guys in the NBA, one of the best finishers. So for Bam Adebayo to go up there, get that ball with his left hand, not foul, one of the most impressive plays we've seen in this postseason.
So now, let's look ahead to the Western Conference.
Well, as we should.
Nuggets and the Lakers, what's your early read on that series?
Well, it's going to be all about Nikola Jokic, in my opinion, mainly because of this. He is such a force. The Lakers, if they possibly try and double-team Jamal Murray, he's going to be passing that to the best passing center maybe in the history of the NBA. So he is the key. He's going to be a problem, whether he's getting Anthony Davis in foul trouble or having that one-on-one matchup. So it's going to be very, very interesting to watch how these game plans start to develop over the course of the series.
And the Lakers certainly know one thing. If they manage to get a 3-1 lead, they better not let up. RJ, good to spend some time with you, my man.
No one's letting up. No one's letting up on anything with the Denver Nuggets again.
All right. Now, Neil, according to Caesars, William Hill, the Lakers are -550 favorites to win the conference finals. Break that down.
All right, my man Dave Sheraffin is the one who taught me all this. So you bet $550 on the Lakers, and if they win, you win 100.
Why would I do that?
Well, listen, you want to bet 20% of your money or whatever that is.
All right.
Now you bet 100 on the Nuggets, and they win, you win $425.
Or I'll keep my money. Los Angeles took 3 or 4 meetings against the Nuggets during the regular season, including winning the bubble. Denver's sole win, a 24-point blowout in the game. LeBron James didn't play. They earned a trip to the Western Conference Finals, and they had to come back in each game to come back and win the series against the Clippers. Let's show you how it all went down. Start with Game 5. Nuggets trail by 16 late in the second quarter, 6.7% chance to win the game. They outscored the Clippers 38-25 in the fourth, and they win it 111-105. So that made it 3-2. Game 6, Nuggets had a 3.4% chance to win with 10:08 left in the third quarter when they trailed by 19, but they dominated the Clippers 64-35 in the second half. They win it 111-98, and it's 3 games apiece. And then in Game 7, Tuesday night, Nuggets had just a 13% chance to win as they trailed by 11 in the first half. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard scoreless in the fourth quarter. Leonard 1 for 11 in the second half, his worst shooting half of his career. Game 1 against the Lakers Friday. Rachel Nichols now.
Well, Stan, the Clippers did not mince words after losing Game 7 here in Orlando. Lou Williams saying this team, quote, had championship expectations and had the talent to do it, but, quote, we didn't have the chemistry to do it. Doc Rivers called it a lack of trust. He said he's as much to blame as anyone, saying, I'm always going to think I could have done more. In fact, that's exactly what he told the team in the post-game locker room. He told the players, put it on me when you get questions. Of course, they clap back at that idea, but absolutely, they know there will be questions. Remember a week ago when the Clippers were up 3-1 in this series, and Doc was asked about the team reaching what would have been the first conference finals berth in the Clippers' near 50-year history. He said, that's not our goal, so I don't think anyone cares. He was right. The goal for the Clippers was win a championship, and just reaching the conference finals would not have been cause for some big celebration. But now they haven't even done that, and so a lot of people are going to care for a very long time. Stan?
All right, Rachel, the Clippers now 0-8 all-time in games that could have sent them to the conference finals, extending what was already the longest such losing streak in NBA postseason history. 6 of those losses have been under Doc Rivers, who has the worst win percentage and clinch opportunities among coaches who coached in at least 20 such games in postseason history.
Till 1 Eastern time, it'll be there in a blink. Fun night in sports. We'll get to Denver and the Clippers in just a moment. We begin with the best thing I saw today, and if you're watching basketball on this Tuesday night, I have a feeling you know where we're going to start here. This was one hell of a basketball game, and this is as good a block as I've ever seen. Leading by 2 points, Miami's Bam Adebayo rises up and blocks not just anybody, but Jason Tatum, who's cuffing it. He's going to dunk it. Taco Fall, who is a rim protector himself, looks up. This is the best angle. His wrist is going to break. He meets him outside the bucket, and somehow no body contact and keeps the ball out of the rim. How do you do it? We'll ask him when he joins us a little bit later. The Don, Pat Riley. enjoying that. And we'll show you the highlight of that game in a moment. But first, Game 7, Nuggets and Clippers, as you just saw from the bubble. Nikola Jokic, lead for Denver in this elimination game.